Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your online YouTube visa consultant. Are you interested about migration to Australia or perhaps study abroad in Australia? Why don't you consider to subscribe to our channel and turn on the little bell on the side so once you have all the news and update, you will be the first one of getting all the news. Okay, now in this video, I would like to take you into a deeper discussion about the category of the Global Talent Independent GTI subclass 858 visa, in particular in regards to the character and the background of the required nominator. Now, as you know, a GTI applicant, not just to fulfill the background, perhaps they have a pattern, they have the income proof, they still require an Australian nominator to actually testify and attest, should I say, the actual experiences and skill of that GTI applicant. The reason of how this regulation was actually invented or created in a way because immigration understands that not all the immigration officer will actually have the knowledge and requirement to actually know what sort of technical view of a certain person's skill set is actually meeting the standards or perhaps the achievement required. Now, in the traditional skill migration, the way that they do it is they go through skill assessment. But for subclass 858, it's a talented type of visa and also attracting global talents. And now, these type of person is not just meeting the standard, they are at the very high end of the standards. And in order for somebody to actually understand and attest that applicant has actually reached, has a level of skill or experience at that top end, is actually harder than just going through a skill assessment. So let's take a look what the actual regulation says and how you could actually find your potential nominator if you are looking forward to launch a GTI application. So let's jump into the actual web page, which that you can Google and find through, if you type in Home Affairs space GTI, you should be able to find yourself in this page. Now, I'm at the page where the tab is at the eligibility, as you can see here. So we have gone through a lot of discussion in regards to the background of a person, how they could meet the requirement, and obviously they should update this because they have inserted more sectors in here. Now, we are talking about this sentence here. Okay, so I'm gonna read through and explain it and also reflect back to the actual regulation how it actually meant. So it says the talent have a recognized organization or individual in Australia nominate them as a global talent in the same field of the applicant. So it cannot just be your mate, your friend, your Australian friend who might not even know what you do or might not even familiar of what your expertise is. You're required to find someone who are in the same field of your expertise or same sector and who could attest your skill is at a level of international recognized achievement, which we have discussed in the previous GTI video. Your achievement has to be internationally recognized with evidence of outstanding achievement. So that's the standard that they are looking for. So you need to find someone in Australia who is in your field to actually attest your field of experiences. So let's take a look at what the actual regulation says. Okay, so this is actually the Legend.com, which is the Library of Immigration Law. So what we are looking at here is 858.212 subclause 2E. As you can see here, I'm going to scroll it up a little bit and highlight this part. So produce a complete approved form. Now, Form 1000 basically is required by an Australian citizen or Australian permanent resident to attest your skills by completing some of the fields and columns that's required. So what it says here, it has to be an Australian citizen or Australian permanent resident or an eligible New Zealand citizen. That's basically meant a New Zealand citizen who had arrived and permanently lived in Australia, and they arrived in Australia, I think that was before 2002 anyway, or it can be an organization. An organization is actually harder. It can be a university, it can be a venture capital fund, or perhaps a corporation who are interested in your field of expertise, or who is specialized in the field of your expertise, and who are national. Now, this is the key here. Now, it's or you can choose one, A, B, C, or D, either of them, okay? And who has a national reputation in the field of that area. Now, that's the key here. Now, it's that's what I meant. It cannot be someone. It has to be related to your expertise. So, giving you an example, if we are talking about a well-known fintech GTI Applicant, now obviously you cannot find someone who is expert in energy field or space tech, because although you're both in technology, but he wouldn't understand how good you are in financial technology. And another example, you may be an experience in a very high experience and well known in the field of let's say space tech. Now, you cannot have somebody who has highly prominently known a national reputation in the tourism industry again. Now, he cannot attest the skill or skill set or experience that you actually have. So that's basically what that really meant. So a lot of people had written the comments and questions to me in regards to this. So now that's the hard part, because if you have never been related to Australia, you might not even know anyone who is in the same field. So final question, maybe a lot of people might ask, say, so how do I find my nominator? Okay, now that's the hardest question. Now, obviously, you gotta dig out whatever the relationship that you might already have or existing contact that you have. Maybe just give a ring around and see how it goes. If they're happy to actually, and in the same field, meeting a requirement to nominate you. Now, bear in mind, nominating a GTI applicant does not require the nominator to employ the applicant. It's not an employment type of visa. The meaning of this exercise is to have someone who is Australian, who has the same field of expertise, and who can attest and confirm your skill set is at the high level of what they categorize or define as internationally recognized achievement. So that's for the video for today. Should you have more question query, more than welcome to leave a comment right down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.